Welcome back to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. Our mission is to share what we have learned from our experience and the experience of others to help you make more money investing like a pro. We want to teach you how to create wealth by investing in real estate the Discount Property Investor way. To jumpstart your real estate investing career, visit freewholesalecourse.com, the most complete free course on wholesaling real estate ever. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome, David, to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Do you want to take a second and introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me today, guys. So my name is David Dodge. I am a real estate investor and real estate coach. I'm 35 years old. I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri, and that's where I live today. Great real estate market. Not necessarily my favorite city by any means. Don't rush and get on a plane to come here. But all things considered, it's a great place to live. Friendly people, Midwest vibe, right in the middle of Midwest here. And we have a really good market in St. Louis for buying rental properties, doing wholesale deals and flips. And that's what I do. Wholesale deals, rentals, and flips. I've been investing for 15 years. The first 10 years was really passive. It's buying like a house a year. Didn't know about motivated sellers. Is this a real estate specific show or no?
We were going to jump into real estate, entrepreneurship, sales. So whatever you
all
got.
Above. Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
So the first 10 years, I didn't know much about, motivated sellers, right?
Yeah.
So I was basically buying houses retail, paying full price for them off the MLS via an agent, going and getting a loan from a bank for, typically 80% of the appraisal and putting down 20%. So I was, either saving money and parking it in these rentals in the beginning, or I was borrowing money to put down as my 20% and then paying that back, right? So the first 10 years, I started when I was 20 in college, and I did a simple strategy referred to as house hacking.
Okay.
I bought a house, rented out the other bedrooms. I got a 4-bedroom for my first one, rented out 3 of those rooms, lived for free.
Nice.
Put down 20%, paid that back over, a course of a couple years. So just kind of speed through that. The first 10 years, I didn't know much about investing other than the fact that I was doing it, right? 5-6 years ago, I went full-time and I learned about motivated sellers. Like, what? There's like people out there that are like motivated to sell their house at like 60, 70, 80 cents on the dollar. Get out of town. And since then, I've done like 450 transactions in the last, 5-6 years, probably closer to 500 to be honest. And wholesaling is my favorite thing ever. It's marketing to motivated sellers and getting those properties under contract in the most simplest way to describe it, and then selling the contract.
Yeah.
Right? Not even selling the property, selling the contract. So I love it. Now I do want to preference, I think this is the right word. Wholesaling is awesome, but it is a job.
Yeah.
It causes, it is very time consuming, but it's very profitable, right?
Yeah.
So just want to, preference, like to me, wholesaling is a means to an end. And it's just generating leads and selling the deals that I don't want to personally buy, right? So we kind of live by a model here at my office. Model, however you want to say it, keep the best, sell the rest, right? So depending on what's coming in, and best doesn't necessarily mean high profits. It could mean high equity, right? Or, when I say best, I keep the best, sell the rest. Really what I mean is, we have goals. Everybody should have goals in their business, and we do too. And we have a plan. And depending on the day and the time and of the week, the plan may change to meet those goals, right? So if we have 3 or 4 properties in the queue to be rehabbed, the best thing that we could that could come in maybe won't be a rental, right? It may be a different type of deal. So keep the best, sell the rest is really, like, somebody asked, and the reason I'm even diving into this is somebody asked me earlier today, how do you define that? Like, because some deals you could wholesale and get paid in a week or two and make 10, or you could fix and flip those and make 30. Well, how many do I have in my fix and flip queue? Do I have 0? Well, I need to get a couple in there, right? So that would be the best in today's terms. However, if today's terms were, I have 6 of them and only 3 of them are even being worked on, 3 of them are sitting, then it doesn't make sense to meet my goals by having a plan of putting another one in that queue, right? So keep the best, sell the rest. It depends on your own business, but I think everyone should try to have that same kind of mindset, right?
Yeah.
So
I think that mindset's really important. I think it can be applicable to any business, really. I mean, obviously for real estate, like you mentioned, those things are going to be different for each business. They're going to be different from, month to month, year to year. It's going to change, and you're responsible for keeping track of that. I appreciate you diving. I was excited to talk to you because I know how passionate you are about what you do.
I'm very passionate about it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You just dove right in, which is awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
You're teaching us about wholesaling already, which is awesome. But so what was life like prior to getting into real estate? I know I did a little bit of digging, and it looks like it was something you were always interested in. But when you were growing up as a kid, was it something that your parents did? Was it something that you always studied and got into, or what did that look like?
Great question. So typically, if I'm looking back on this, I always liked real estate because I knew I wanted to be in real estate when I was really young. And I didn't know how or what that looked like until 5 years ago. So I was basically like 30 years old. And I had bought rentals. I had about 10 of them when I went full time. So I didn't go in like completely green, I guess would be the good term there, right? So, but I kind of looked at the market and looked at the people that I knew in real estate. And I didn't know that many agents that were like just crushing it and like had wealth. They may have made a lot of money, but like not many of them. And I'm not saying that there's not any out there. I know several, but most were like working real hard and like they weren't doing that great. However, a lot of the real estate investors that I knew that had been in the game for like, 10, 20 plus years were wealthy and like didn't worry that much and didn't work that hard. And they lived a really awesome lifestyle. And I knew from the get-go, this is a game of patience, right? Like this is not a get rich quick game. Maybe not on the wholesaling or the fix and flip side, but like on the landlording side.
Sure.
However, I'm terrible at saving money. So why not put it on autopilot, right? Why not buy a property and let somebody else pay it down? So like I don't have my piggy bank here because I'm at my office today, but I have a piggy bank on my desk at home. And I look at every rental property like a piggy bank, guys. I mean, literally, it's a piggy bank. And when I buy it, it only has a couple $100 in it, unless I rehab it and I refinance it and I use the Brrrr strategy, which is a whole different topic of conversation.
Yeah.
We typically try to get 20 grand at minimum in those. But otherwise, we have $0 in that piggy bank. But every month, somebody else is putting money in that piggy bank for me, right? Nice. And over the course of 15 or 20 years, that piggy bank will grow to the size of an SUV, and it'll be filled with $100 bills, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, right? Like, property that's worth 150 grand. I mean, that's a big piggy bank, right? That's somebody else filled up for you. So if you have the patience, rental property is where it's at. That's really where my passion is.
Yeah.
But we have to take a step back. How do you buy rental property if you don't have money? Well, you learn how to buy at a discount and you flip a couple of them, you wholesale them, and you save up money and you get a loan and you buy it. That's one of the coolest things about real estate is you can use leverage. You can't do that, really with stocks or bonds, right? You can't take $5 and go buy $30 worth of something, but in real estate you can. So that's just, it's super appealing to me. But wholesaling is where I think everybody should start and learn, because all the other things that you can do in real estate are irrelevant if you don't have a deal.
Interesting.
So I think it's really foolish of people to like try to go learn all these crazy strategies without like having a deal lined up, right? Like, yeah, it's good to educate. I'm all about that. I mean, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on education and masterminds and courses and coaching and all that. And it's all great, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, this is a lead gen business. Like, you got to figure out where that motivation is in those sellers and get in front of them and offer them a level of convenience that's above and beyond where they're going to find elsewhere. And in exchange or in return for you offering them a high level of convenience, you demand, you do not ask, you demand that you get a discount on that property. And that's it. That's all there is to it.
I love that.
Wholesaling is a great thing. It's a means to an end for me to just buy rentals and flips, keep the best, sell the rest. But it's very lucrative too.
Yeah.
I love it. And I try to teach people, start there or at least learn a little bit about it. If you don't want to be wholesaling, that's fine, but at least understand the concept of it and the principles. But if you are interested in getting into real estate, it's 100% the best place to start, because you can start flipping houses, AKA contracts, make 5, 10, 30, 50. I mean, not bloating or bragging, but we've done deals 60, 80, 90 and 100K.
Nice.
Just off the top of my head. Right. So, I mean, we've done big deals too. But the coolest thing about it is wholesaling specifically is that you don't need money to buy the house. So you can leverage 100% of it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
So talk about that for a second for people out there. I've done a little digging in the past on wholesaling, so I'm familiar with at least the concept of it. I've never done a deal or anything like that. But for someone who's completely unfamiliar with the leveraging portion of that, what does that look like when you say leveraging 100% of it? What does that look like to the layman?
Okay, so that's a great question. So let me put on my teacher hat for a second here. Spin this puppy around.
There it is.
Yeah. So if we're going to just run through a simple example, I think it'd be the easiest way to explain what wholesaling real estate is. And I think a lot of people that don't know this, their minds are going to be blown, and my mind was blown. So let's say that Caitlin has a house that she needs to sell. Keyword need, not want, needs to sell. It doesn't matter what the reason is. Now let's talk about those just for a second. There could be a lot of reasons why she need to sell the house. She's moving for work. She, children may be coming in or out of her life, and she may need to upgrade or upsize or downsize. Could be death or divorce, not necessarily her, but somebody near her. I mean, there's lots of reasons why somebody would need to sell, right? So we go to work and we do marketing, and we try to locate these people that need to sell. So in this scenario, Caitlin was that person. She needed to sell. And I come along and I say, hey, I'm an investor. I don't pay retail. I start with that every time, guys. I think that'd be shooting myself in the foot, but it's not. It adds a level of transparency that will help you 100 times down the road. So just start with that. I'm an investor. I don't pay retail. However, I'm a cash buyer, and I have a lot of cash buyer partners. So if we can come to an agreement on me buying your house, and you can give me a discount, but in exchange for that discount, I'm going to offer you a super high level of convenience. And this is what that looks like. 3 things, guys. So simple. 1, I'm going to pay cash. Doesn't have to be your cash, right? A loan, essentially, when it clears the bank, is cash to them. So you're just going to buy it. But you say, I'm going to pay cash. Okay. Next is I'm going to buy it as is. So you, Caitlin, don't need to paint. You don't need to clean. You don't need to mulch or landscape. You don't even need to remove all that stuff in the basement and all those crates that is your great aunt's, because you inherited this property, right? You can leave it. So that's number 2, as is. And then number 3, we're going to do it relatively quick. So cash, as is, and quick. That's it. And when I say quick, like 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, but typically that's super quick for real estate when most transactions take 2 to 5 months, right? We're going to do this in 2 to 5 weeks, right? And that's it. So me and you, we say, hey, this is great. You just want to sell. You need to sell. You're willing to give me a deal on it and let me have a little bit of a spread. But in exchange, I'm going to make this really, really easy for you. Nice. So that's how it starts. That's how it all starts. Every single transaction that I've ever done started just like that. Now, I've done a lot of different things and different strategies to get that. Find Caitlin, find that motivated seller, but that's how all of it looks all the time, right? So then this is what wholesaling is. This is the definition of wholesaling right here. So I then say, Caitlin, I'll offer you, and this number is arbitrary and doesn't matter, but I'm going to offer you $85,000 for this property. And you say, shit, I thought you were going to offer me $75,000. I'll take it. Right. But the property fixed up is worth $150,000 and it only needs 20 or 30 grand worth of work. But you don't care because you don't want it anyway. Right. So I send you a contract, you sign it, I sign it, and I have a contract to purchase Caitlin's property for $85,000. I then take that contract and I send a text message, an email to all of my partners and cash buyers. And I say, I got this great deal. You can buy it for 95 grand. And somebody sends me or calls me up or sends me an email or a text or whatever and says, David, I've been looking for a house in that neighborhood and I'll pay you 95 grand for it. And I say, great. Send me a check for $10,000 and I will give you a contract. And then you can then go spend that $85,000 and buy Caitlin's house. That is what wholesaling is.
Okay.
Wow. That's like light bulb moment.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That's crazy.
That is a thing. And we do that and we make $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 sometimes, not always, sometimes selling somebody a contract that they pay us for, but then they are then obligated to go pay somebody else too.
Yeah.
No, we're just a middleman. We are providing in the most simplest form, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're
but
fine.
In the most simplest form, we provide liquidity to the real estate market. That's it. That's all we do. I mean, that's the most simplest form. Now, we do that several ways, and we're always solving problems, and we're offering convenience in exchange for a discount. But at the end of the day, all we are really doing is just providing liquidity. We're giving them a higher level of convenience. Yeah.
So to do that, do you have to have a certain license? Do you have to have a real estate license? Anything? Oh, wow. I never knew that. That's so crazy.
Nope. I'm not a licensed agent. I don't have a license. And I've bought and sold 500 houses. Don't have a license. You don't need it, right? So, I mean, will it help? Yeah, probably. Get you access to the MLS if you don't already have it or can't get it through a friend or something like that. And just having that tool in your belt is helpful. If you do come across a lead and they don't like your $85,000 offer, they need $100,000, and you say, well, shit, somebody might pay $100,000 for it. I'll list it for you, make a commission. I mean, there's lots of reasons that it's good to have. I just don't want to be bogged down in that side of the business. So I just decided, hey, I'm an investor. I don't want to try, get spread thin. I just want to invest. Yeah. And I just decided, you know what? I don't need it. I don't want it. My two business partners are both brokers. So it's like, they can do it for me if needed. Right. Yeah. But that's me. If you are new, I highly suggest and recommend you get it because you're just going to educate yourself and learn a lot of the things that I already know. Right. Yeah. And it can't hurt. Like there's really no downside to it, but I digress. You don't need it. Yeah. That's the main thing. You don't need it. Right.
Yeah, definitely.
So if someone maybe wants to get into wholesaling, do you think that it's something that they could do on the side? Or do you think it's something that if someone's interested that they need to really jump in full time, it's a full-time thing?
You can 100% do this on the side. I know people that do, maybe 2 or 3 deals a year. Some people I know do 1 deal a year. And they maybe have 2 jobs or they're a stay-at-home mom so yes, I mean, the more time and effort you put into anything, the better you're going to get at it and the quicker you're going to get good at it, of course. But this can be done by anybody in any country in the world, from any country in the world, by the way, which is very cool. I mean, this is complete virtual. You don't have to go to the property necessarily. We do, but it doesn't mean that I can't hire somebody in Phoenix if I'm going to start marketing in Phoenix to go look at those houses and take pictures. I don't need to be there, right? So there's a lot of advantages of the business in the fact that it is very virtual. I forget, what was your exact question? I digressed again here.
It was just that if you could do it on the side or if
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You can do it on the side. We have a lot of students in our coaching program that do it on the side. And, typically it's going to take them a little bit longer to pick up on it and maybe do their first deal, but that's to be expected. Right. But absolutely, to answer your question, you can do it on the side. It doesn't require a whole lot of work if you have a budget for your marketing. If you don't have a budget for your marketing, then you have to allocate time. It's one or the other, guys. One or the other. either you spend money to make your phone ring or you ring other people's phones. Again, I try to make it very simple for people. So if you got some money and you're lazy like me, hey, and your phone will just start ringing off the hook, right? Otherwise, you pick it up, start dialing. You need to be making those calls. And we do both. We have cold callers and cold texters and, people that answer the phones and all that type of stuff here at our business. But we also have, direct mail campaigns. I'm on the radio. I have a small radio ad, nothing crazy, but we are on the radio, and we do lots of other types of marketing to get our phone to ring. Yeah.
Awesome. So when you go to talk with a motivated seller, I'm curious, what are some of the things that you do differently than other people in your industry that are making you stand out and make you give you the ability to close more deals than your competitors?
I think it just kind of comes down to like maybe one or two things, guys. One or two things. Confidence, I think, is the main thing, right? When I go and I make an offer on a property, I don't know if I can buy it at that price, but I'm leading with my best foot forward, right? And I'm very transparent. So I tell people, hey, I think that this will work, and I think we can close it on this time, right? However, I have partners, and they're going to have to agree, and I'm going to go to work for you to get this deal done and convince them. You don't have to do it. I'll do it for you, right? But things could change, right? So I try to lead with transparency. Again, what was the question?
Oh, I was saying, what makes you stand out when you're
what makes you stand out? I lead with transparency, and I just make it very clear to the seller that I do want to buy their house. I think a lot of people that are new, they go look at a bunch of properties and they're like, oh, gung-ho, but they don't make any offers. I would rather make a bunch of offers and not look at any houses. I mean, come on, guys. I want to lay in my hammock and drink a beer. Right? So it's like I lead with confidence. Like somebody calls and they say, hey, we're interested in selling. I'm like, great. What's the address? I'm going to come over and look at it right now. Or when can I come? Or, this is basically what I'd be interested in paying in this price range, in this neighborhood, right? Type of thing, right? I lead with the offer. And I have the best intentions of buying it right then and there. But I don't have a buyer lined up. I don't have money to buy it. But I'm confident that if I'm transparent with them and tell them that I have to do these other things, that it will give me the amount of time needed to go do those things. So I think a lot of people, and I guess your question was, what's my competitive advantage, right? What is that? And it's when people call, I say, hey, I buy a ton of houses, 90 plus last year. I'd love to buy yours. You don't even need to call anybody else. If you want to, that's cool, but I'll buy it if I can come to a good price. And if I don't have a buyer for it, I'm tell them that, right? I'm not lying though. I have those intentions in mind. I'm going to find somebody that's going to buy it. And I'm going to make 5, 10, 15 grand in the middle. But at the end of the day, you're not going to care because I'm providing you a crazy level of convenience. Cash in your hand in a couple weeks. Come on.
Yeah. Doesn't get better than that.
And it ain't my cash, but I'm going to find somebody who does have cash. So let's just take a brief second and pause and talk about that side of it, because
I was actually just going to ask.
It's a big piece, like, okay, Dave, you're doing this marketing, you find these motivated sellers. Then we talked about what that looks like, death, divorce, disease, relocation, lots and lots of reasons, right? Children, in, out. But the buyer side of it, you have to be able to sell it. So where do you find those people? What do they look like? Who are they? Well, you're talking to one of them, right? Anybody that's a landlord, is probably looking to buy more at some point. Anybody that's an investor that does like fix and flips, those are my buyers. Other wholesalers that might have a buyer, I'll partner with them to sell a deal and split it with them just to help the seller sell the house, right? Like that, at the end of the day, the goal isn't to get paid, it's to solve their problem, and you're going to get paid handsomely for doing so. Money comes. Don't make that the goal, right? So where do you find these people? They're people like me. They're people that are looking for deals. So like Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups. Go into your local Facebook and type in your city space real estate investing, or real estate investor, or real estate agent. And there's going to be a group, maybe 10, maybe 20, that has anywhere from 500 to 15,000 people in it. And those are people just like me and you that are interested in seeing what's happening in the marketplace, or if anybody has a deal they want to shop, right? So there's so many cash buyers. They're everywhere, but they're essentially just individuals like me and you that are looking to invest. And when I say cash buyer, again, it's cash when it closes. They may have to go get a loan from a hard money lender or a bank. So what?
Yeah.
It'll close, and then the seller gets cash. Doesn't matter if that money came in via a wire, literal cash, money orders. It's all just, it's the same, right? So that's where they're at. They're everywhere. Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups, Craigslist. There's this little thing called RIAs, Real Estate Investment Associations, and you can find these on meetup.com, right? Along with a lot of other crazy ass shit on there. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Pardon my language. But go on meetup.com, guys. Type in real estate or REIA, RIA.
Mm-hmm.
And you will find 30 of them probably. If you live in a decent sized city, you'll find 30 of these groups.
Yeah.
Some of them will meet weekly. Some of them will meet monthly. Some of them will do coffee. Some of them will just, randomly meet online. I mean, but it doesn't matter. Join them. People like me that are trying to sell my deals, go to these events. People like me that are looking for my next rehab or rental, go to these events to find those. I mean, go to where they're at, right?
Yeah.
So real estate investment clubs, Facebook groups, Craigslist too. That's where you find these people. You can also buy lists of people that have done cash transactions in your county in the last 6, 12, 18 months. And then you can call those people, email them, send them a letter as well to try to see if they want to join your buyers list and get on your emails.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can even solicit those same exact people for lending you money. So there's so many ways to work this business. But a lot of people just, they want to overanalyze and they say, I need to learn how to do this and this and this. None of that matters without a motivated seller. Caitlin, we have to find Caitlins.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Oh, I was just going to say, so if someone wants to get started, you said they can make cold calls, but they can also start with marketing. What do you think is the first, so say they only have like a chunk of money and they can't spend a bunch of money on a ton of different marketing channels. Which one do you think is the most effective if someone's going to start?
Great question. So when I started, I did direct mail via postcards, and I did bandit signs, and I had tremendous success, and I still have tremendous success with those two things. We do other things as well. We do cold calling. We do cold texting. We did AdWords for a really long time, but I stopped doing that because it's super expensive.
Yep.
I'm on the radio, and we do a lot of skip tracing, which leads to the cold texting, cold calling. So we have a lot of things that we do. But I think the simplest way to answer that question is it doesn't matter. And here's why. They all work. That's why I do all of them. So to answer your question, I'm going to put it like this. Do not do all of them because you will be terrible at it. Pick one, do that, get really good at it, then do the next thing. Or outsource that to somebody else or hire somebody to do it for you and move on. So there's a couple options, guys. Pick one and go with it. You can do some direct mail. You can cold call for sale by owners on Zillow or Craigslist. You can cold call people that have properties for rent on Craigslist or Zillow and say, hey, I see that you have this for rent. Would you have interest in selling it? I mean, a lot of tired landlords out there that would rather sell, but they just keep renting it because it's a pain in the ass. You can drive for dollars. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do. You can put bandit signs out. All of them work. So find one of them that you would enjoy doing, learn it, get good at it, and start doing that. That is like the best answer to that question. People overcomplicate it. They think they need to learn how to do them all before they start doing any of them. And that's the wrong answer.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter if you know how to do 5 of them. Just do one.
Yeah.
That's where you start, 1, and then you go to 2, so on and so forth. So yeah, great question.
What I love about everything you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like there's a lot of opportunity for hustle. So for somebody that wants to change their state in life or change their, income on a yearly basis, or they don't like their job or whatever, you can literally get into this, no license. You got to learn one thing, like you just said, do it really well, and then just get out there and start making the connections and meeting the people, making the calls and doing what you have to do to generate business. Is that an accurate way to say that?
Absolutely. There's no reason to word it any other way than you just did.
Awesome. No, I love that because I mean, I think you touched on another really important thing is that, you know, in real estate, in marketing, in whatever industry it is, when it comes to entrepreneurship, people, they get so heavy on the analysis and then they never take the first step. They never start their business. They've got this long plan. They've told their dreams to everybody and then they never start. And it's such an issue in the field.
What they have is they have these huge goals. And what they don't have is a plan, because the first part of any plan is to act.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like what is step number one? Let's do that. So they have a lot of goals, but they have a lack of a plan. And that's really where it's at. So I'm going to give you guys a plan right now. If you want to learn how to start wholesaling real estate, I'll teach you for free. Now I'm going to back up. I'm not giving you my cell phone number, but I have created a free course online. It is basically this entire 300-page book that I wrote that's for sale on Amazon. You can buy it if you want, but you don't have to. I'm not even asking you to. What I would like you to do is go take my free course, because it's absolutely 100% free. And it's going to show you what wholesaling is, step by step, how it works. And it's got the easiest domain to remember. I don't even need to say it 30 times. I'm going to say it once or twice. freewholesalecourse.com.
Easy.
That's it. It's simple, guys. Go there. Take the course, and you're going to learn basically what I do and how I do it. And if you want more, reach out to me. Of course, I am here to help. But I have, the course, I think we've had 9,000 or 10,000 people take it. And I've had 30 to 50 people probably reach out to me and say, hey, I got my first deal from your free course. Like, they didn't pay me to coach them. So people, you can learn how to do it from that course. It is possible. It's been proven 30 to 50-ish times over the last, 3.5, 4 years.
Yeah.
So I love it. I think wholesaling is amazing. You don't need any money to do it, guys. Literally, like, you can buy a house and put down $10 in earnest money. That's what we do. Sometimes awesome. We bought a house one time that was $700,000, and we sold it for like $770,000, and we put down $10.
Oh
nice. That's so awesome.
And you can do it too. All right. It's awesome. So check that out. But that's it, guys. Go check that out. You can learn about how we do it and how it's done.
Definitely. For anybody out there listening, I know I'm going to go check it out for sure. So anybody else listening, if you're interested in real estate, that's the spot to go right there. You put up a post on your Instagram, and I've seen you talk about this before, and you've referenced it a few times with saying you're transparent at the very beginning and saying, I don't pay retail. Talk about negotiation and how you've gotten better at it as you've gone on in your career, and some of the things that people who aren't as good at negotiating can start to do when they get into those situations.
It's a great question too. So I'm not like a super great negotiator. I don't think of myself as like being a sales expert. I have confidence. I know what I want. Yeah. And I know that I offer a high level of convenience.
Okay.
So I'm very aware of what value I'm providing to people, right? I don't have to buy that house, but I'm willing to help you out, right?
Right.
So when it comes to negotiating and, talking to sellers, my number one goal is to make a friend.
There you go.
Okay. Number one, make a friend. Listen, try to listen more than you talk to these people, at least in the beginning. You're not there because they want to hear about you or your story. You're there because they want to sell a house. So make that the goal, right?
Definitely.
So just make a friend, let them know that you're there to help them. And then you had mentioned transparency. I'm very transparent. I tell a lot of sellers, listen, I bought 90-ish houses last year. Not saying that to brag, but I do that much volume and help that many people because I have so many partners. So when I make you an offer to buy this house, I'm assuming we're going to make it work. And I'm assuming the time frame is going to be what we're going to agree on, but it might not be. I just want you to know that. Now, I've done 90 in the last year and 500 in the last 5.
Yep.
But this is the reality, right? And by doing that, I don't ever have to worry about getting a phone call last minute from one of these cash buyer people on the other side of it, calling and backing out. And then Caitlin says, Dave, you told me you were going to give me 85 grand. What in the hell? So I used to, get those calls all the time where the hair on the back of your neck stands up and you're like, fuck, pardon my language. No, but you're like, man, I totally told this person I was going to do that and I didn't do that. I am done with those days, guys. No more. I'd rather just be transparent in the beginning, let them know there is that risk, but also let them know that, I don't get paid unless we buy the deal. And when we buy the deal, we're going to buy it. We're going to fix it up. We're going to rent it or we're going to sell it. But that's what we do. This is my business, how I feed my family, Yeah. So I just go with that approach. It helps in multiple ways. One, it makes you feel better because you're not telling them something that's not necessarily true. You're telling them the full truth, actually. Number two, if the buyer does back out, you told them, so you don't have to lose sleep about it. You're like, listen, I'm sorry, I told you, but I'm not going away, guys. I want to help you sell it. I got a bunch of other partners. Give me another week or two, we'll get it done. Yep. And usually they're going to say, 99 times out of 100, they're going to say, all right, cool. You told me, right? I get it, right? And then number three is when you are overly transparent about it. And one of the ways that I do that is whenever I'm on a call or my team is on a call, we kind of preference that we are investors and we don't pay retail. That's one of the first things I say. If I get a call from a lead or I'm calling a lead back, they answer the phone. Caitlin says, hello, let's role play. Caitlin.
Oh, hello.
Hi, my name is Dave. I'm calling from House Sold Easy. I was calling about your house over at, 322 Maple Drive. You had filled out a form on my website or called off of a radio ad or whatever. And I just wanted to reach out and, let you know that we're very interested in buying that house. This is Caitlin, right?
Yes. That's great.
Awesome. And do I have the address right? 322 Maple. Is that the right place?
Yes, that's correct.
Awesome. Well, Caitlin, I just want to say one thing before we begin. I bought a ton of houses in that area recently, and I would love to buy this one. I hope, in fact, that I can buy this one. But before we begin, I want to let you know that I am an investor and I do not pay retail because there's, I can't make money in a business if that's how I perform. So if you are willing to sell me this property at a slight discount, I am willing to make it as easy as humanly possible for you to work with me. Can we agree that that's kind of my intentions here?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. It is a business.
Love it. Tell me a little bit about the property. That's it. That's the role play, right? So I just tell them my intentions, but I tell them I can provide them a crazy amount of value, which AKA or another, what is that value? And that is ease of use for them. It's convenience, And if they say, no, I don't want to sell at a slight discount or even in some cases a big discount, well, then why would I want to give you this crazy amount of convenience? I don't. Right. So I'm going to say, okay, no problem, Caitlin. It was so nice to talk to you. Do you have an agent? Do you need one? I got people on my team that do and are agents. We can help you this way, but I don't want to waste a bunch of your time and, more importantly, mine. If you're not willing to, to work with me, because I don't have to buy your house. And I don't say this, but I'm talking to you guys, right? Of the 90-ish houses we bought last year, I didn't need to buy any of them. Not one. Yeah. Zero. But we bought 90 because we were able to offer a crazy high level of convenience. And in return, we didn't ask, we demanded for a discount. Yeah. And that's kind of where my brand comes in, guys. I have the Discount Property Investor Podcast because it all starts with buying at a discount. So that's wholesaling. That's kind of how it works. That's the negotiation side of it. Just make a friend, choose transparency. Somebody that's listening to this call, could maybe not even, need to do much more than take my free course and start just off that information right there, I
was going to say, you gave the intro phone call away already. So I know that anybody out there listening, you can even get on a cold call now. You're equipped. You're ready to go.
Exactly. Just tell them what's up. Yeah. And if you don't have a lot of experience, tell them that too. Just say, hey, listen, I'm kind of new to real estate investing, but I have a couple partners, and say it like this because you're not lying, right? You're actually telling them the truth. You say, I have a couple real estate partners and they got me on the hunt to find a rehab or a rental. So I'd love to take a look at yours because maybe it will fit their criteria. And then you find the person that has the criteria later.
Yeah.
Love it.
So you don't even have to be like, oh, I'm this big shot. Don't even, fake it till you make it great. I love that strategy, but don't overcommit. Don't lie. Don't
Right.
just tell them that you have, the ability to help them solve their problem. Selling the property isn't the problem, Caitlin. It's that you inherited that property or all the other things we talked about earlier. That's the problem.
Yeah. What I love about everything you're saying is that, so I know you say like you're not a sales expert and stuff like that, but one thing that you do that a lot of salespeople don't do is recognize their own value. They could tell you if they sat back and thought about it, but it's ingrained in you. You can tell your value is that you provide this level of convenience. You're going to get this property off their hands right away. And, you're going to provide this massive level of ease for them. And the fact that you go into every conversation with that in mind, that your value is worth the money that you're making.
Absolutely.
That's valuable for anybody.
And I think that the best salespeople in the world, they don't convince, right? They don't convince you that you need it. They give you, instead it's I don't know, it's hard to explain, but yeah, I don't ever want somebody to be on the fence about selling me their house, right? Either you like this deal or this is a pain in my ass and I'm going to have to chase you, and I don't want to chase you. Right. So this is the level of convenience and this is the number, and I will make it so incredibly convenient that you don't even have to leave your house if you don't want to. We can hire a mobile notary to come to you with the documents.
Nice.
Anything that they want. I buy houses sometimes from people that live there and there's no money in it. I'm basically paying off their mortgage and they need $300 for a moving truck to go wherever they're going. Well, I'll give them the $300, right? Like, I'm just solving a problem for these people. And that's it, really. That's really it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, just solving the problem. And if you're really good at solving that problem, you're worth all the money that you're making. So that's
you don't have to try to sell somebody when you have a product that's got value. So here's the thing about my product, though. All right. If Caitlin just wanted to sell, I can't do anything for her other than like offer to help and like, you know what I'm saying? But like, I can't be the buyer. Right. It's when you need to sell because my level of, and you said this right, I don't look at it that way very often, but I shouldn't be offering that high level of convenience if you're not willing to trade me for a big discount. If you're only trying to, sell me the property at 90 or 95 cents on the dollar, there's no deal there. Yeah. So no, I think that's great. So you don't have to really learn anything necessarily or have any tricks up your sleeve about sales. Just know that, like, boom, you want help solving this other underlying problem. Let's focus on that. I don't ever have any of that, of issues with that. Now, one thing that we do have though is, sometimes we'll have to call and negotiate with people. So one of the best negotiating tactics with people after the fact is silence. By all, it's 100% silence. Tell them what the situation is. Be frank with them. Also, let them know that you warned them that this could happen. And again, these calls are never fun to make. But sometimes the biggest spreads are made on the back end. Sometimes we'll have a big deal and we'll call and we'll negotiate with the seller and we'll double the deal, just to get it done. We may offer to close. So whenever we're doing that, though, we're not just taking, we're giving them more convenience. So maybe our close was set up for 2.5, 3 weeks out. But if they'll take 10 grand less, we'll close it Friday.
Okay.
How bad do you need this money? Otherwise, I got to pay this and it's going to be on that time. So it's like, again, we're just solving the underlying problem. And the real estate is the means for me to do it. Because I can't just go give people money. Problems. I have to have something in exchange, right?
Absolutely. That's awesome. So I have kind of a selfish question for you, and I'm sure you've heard people in your industry talk about it, but I've heard Grant Cardone talk about before not buying how it's smarter to rent rather than buy a house before you have money or something like that. I can't remember exactly how he phrases it. So I wanted to hear your opinion, your logic on it, because coming into this with no education or reasoning on any opinion that I would have, I'm curious what an expert has to say about that.
Great question. So there's two schools of thought, and he's not right or wrong. He plays it because it's controversial. So I'll give him that. I like Grant, read all of his books, all that stuff, So here's the deal. In a lot of markets in the United States and worldwide, it doesn't make sense, right? And in most markets, it does make sense. Now, one thing that isn't mentioned in that is that owning a home is one of the best ways to build your credit. So there's lots of ancillary benefits that come off of ownership. Also, the tax benefits of owning real estate are often overlooked when you're talking about that. But, if you're paying $400,000 for a property, and that property rents for $2,000 a month, or that's what you could rent it out for, and your mortgage is more than that, it doesn't make sense as an investment. It probably doesn't make sense to buy it. Like, look at it as an investment, right? If you could rent it and you didn't live there, would you get more for it than what you pay the mortgage? Well, then it's probably a good thing, right? To me, I just don't like having a landlord either. Like,
right.
Also like overlooked. Like if you live in a high rise and you got a door guy, your landlord's probably pretty easy to work with. But if you don't, like most people, right? Like your landlord may be a dick.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying. So to me, like answering to the bank is easier because it's just done through the mail than answering to a human. So I don't know. I always prefer to buy, but I live in St. Louis, Missouri. If I lived in the middle of New York or Chicago or Miami or LA or, wherever, it wouldn't probably make sense. I'd probably rent and put my money into investments. Last thing about that, because I can talk for days, is a lot of people that are listening to him say that don't have any investments.
Right.
So he's basically indirectly encouraging them to continue to have no investments. If you have no investments, buying a house is at least a start to investing. All right. Also overlooked. So the majority, I don't know, I'd go as far as saying 98% of people that are hearing that message that don't already own a house, right? Don't have any other investments. So, it's like start somewhere. So I think I kind of disagree more with what he's saying. However, there are truths in there. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, you're actually the first person I've ever heard. Usually people take a really hard stance on either side that I've heard of it. But you
can't do that. You can't do that on anything in life, guys. You have to see both sides of the situation always. I am never absolute about anything. I'm always 99% because I know that I'm probably wrong half the time, right? Or could be, but I'm only seeing out of these two eyes. Like, put yourself in other people's shoes and do it as much as you possibly can. And when you start doing that, you'll see your value and your worth, like you had mentioned earlier. But more importantly, you'll see how you can help them and how you can work with them, or maybe you can't. And if you can't, then move on, right? It's I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you say that, because when I was younger, I was so like hard one way, hard the other way. And then I realized, like you said, I realized how wrong I was on so many things. I'm like, man, I'm just going to start playing in the middle and looking at it from both sides. That way I don't look stupid anymore.
You got to see both sides. You got to position yourself to at least, take a minute to understand, somebody else's motives and their means. And their feelings too. This is really, at the end of the day, we're in the people business, no matter what business you're in. So emotions come into play too. So, all those things are factors, but absolutely.
All right. So we always end the podcast with the same question. So the question is, if you could do one thing for others, money, logistics aside, what would you do?
I would offer them free education on how to learn how to wholesale real estate, and I've done it already. So boom,
so you're doing it.
Success. Right. So if you guys want to learn, I'm going to drop it one more time. I'm not trying to spam you guys with my links, but I will teach you how to wholesale real estate for free at freewholesalecourse.com.
Nice.
And our other question is just to provide your Facebook, your Instagram, your website, anything that you want to plug that you want people to.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys want to learn about real estate investing and you like podcasts, we have one of those. Discount Property Investors, the name of that. Facebook, just David Dodge. And then I have an Instagram, which is my full name. It's David Allen Dodge. The podcast is, of course, Discount Property Investor. The website for that is DPI. We've abbreviated it, DPI Podcast.com. Check that out as well. We transcribe all of our episodes and put them on YouTube too. So it's like, if you want to listen, if you want to watch, if you want to read, all of it's available. We do the podcast to help people. We talk about the lessons that we learn every day by screwing up.
Yeah,
Some of the episodes, I mean, not all the episodes are cheerful. Some of them are like, damn it, but you can learn from that. And I'm just really passionate about teaching people. So I also have a book, The Ultimate Guide to Wholesaling Real Estate. It's on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle. So again, I try to get it out. So whatever means works for you. And I'd love for you guys to reach out to me. So if you hear me on this podcast, go on social media and send me a message. And I love chatting with people online all the time.
Absolutely.
Great. I'll link all that in the show notes so people can just click it and get a hold of you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
Real deal, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, no problem, guys. I appreciate you guys having me. I'm grateful for your time, and we'll have to do it again soon.
Absolutely. Yes. All right. Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to help us reach a wider audience. To jumpstart your real estate investing career, please visit freewholesalecourse.com, the most complete free course on wholesaling real estate ever. We would also appreciate it if you left us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Thank you in advance for your support, and remember, you make your money when you buy, and you get paid when you sell. Now let's go build some wealth.